Hey everyone, Andy Raffel from eTeknix.com, and first and foremost, Happy New Year. If you're watching this on the time of release, it is actually being released on New Year's Eve. Hopefully you had a very good Christmas, didn't eat too much, didn't drink too much, hopefully got some nice goodies as presents and stuff as well. Talking of kind of presents, goodies and things like that, I wanted to end this year with a bit of a bang, and I've brought some friends along for the ride as well. Let's do this. So basically what I wanted to do was kind of go through, I guess, what the best components of the year have been. And obviously a lot of them are going to be, I guess, pretty much what you expected. There's going to be a lot of AMD stuff in there, maybe a few other sort of, curveballs that you might not have even sort of thought about. So let me hand over to, well, a couple of people that you may recognize from YouTube.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of eTeknix viewers out there, and a huge thanks to Andy for having me on eTeknix End of the Year Favorite Things video. I am Jeff with Craft Computing, and if you've never seen my channel before, what you see before you is pretty much what I deliver: tech reviews and a side of craft beer. And if I had more than a couple hours notice that I was going to be on this show, I would have picked up something a little bit more in Andy's taste. Maybe a Stella Artois? Boy, this is among the favorite beers that I've had this year, I can tell you that much. I have not had this one before. This is a Fort George's Magnanimous IPA. It's a 7% IPA brewed with Grand Fir, so it literally tastes like an IPA blended with a Christmas tree. And it is fantastic. But Andy asked me on to talk about my favorite coolers of the year, and I brought a trio of them along. Starting with my favorite surprise cooler of the year, and that is the Scythe Fluma 2. You can pick this up on Amazon for between $50 and $60, and it outperformed pretty much every other cooler at that price point in recent memory. Given the low price point, it also fared favorably well against top-tier coolers, like the Noctua NH-U12A, which is on the end of the table there. My favorite all-in-one liquid cooler from the year is a little bit of a toss-up, but I decided to go with the Castle 240EX from GamerStorm Deepcool. The reason being that the market is a little bit bland and kind of saturated at the moment with AIO coolers, and this one kind of bends the rules a little bit. First and foremost, the infinity mirror look on the top with the user replaceable logo gives us a look that is beyond anything I have seen before. The other reason this cooler gets the nod is Deepcool's anti-leak technology that they put into here. It's basically a two-way air bladder inside of here to relieve pressure if the internal temperature gets too high. Whether or not that will actually prevent leaks is still up in the air, but it is nice to see a company taking a proactive approach to preventing leaks. And finally, my favorite cooler of the year has got to be the Noctua NH-U12A. This thing is an absolute beast in a fairly compact form factor. Like the Fluma 2, this is another dual 120mm tower, however it is outperforming nearly every other cooler I have ever tested, and it's even taking on some 140mm dual tower coolers head on, such as Noctua's NH-D14. It's not just the performance, but the price point of the NH-U12A at just $99 USD that makes it a very compelling offering, given that most AIOs are running about $120 and up for the same level of performance. So there you have it, my favorite coolers for 2019. Again, huge thanks to Andy for having me on the eTeknix End of the Year Favorite Things video, and Andy, I will see you in a couple of weeks in Vegas. As for the rest of you, if you have not subscribed to Craft Computing yet, make sure to wander on over to my channel page and do that now, and I hope to see you all in the new year. Cheers, guys. And seriously, if you can find this one, go pick that up, because this is a phenomenal beer.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much to Andy and the eTeknix team for having me on your 2019 year-end wrap-up video. My name is Brian, and I run the BPS Customs YouTube channel. We produce tech content mainly focused around PCs, so that's hardware reviews, builds, and how-tos, with some research pieces and audio-video gear coverage sprinkled in as well. Now, of course, 2019 will be remembered as the year of AMD, and the product of the year almost universally will be agreed upon as the Ryzen 3000 series. But this has caused a ripple effect into other areas, and nowhere is this more apparent than when we look at motherboards. When AMD first introduced Ryzen 1 in 2017, many of their board partner vendors provided support for the new AM4 platform, but they seemed to do so with some reservations, as there was a definite lack of high-end branding and features among available products. As Ryzen has matured and AMD has released some absolute bangers in the 3900X and 3950X this year, we've seen the return of SKUs using the Godlike, Aorus Extreme, and Crosshair formula monikers, not to mention the $1,000 X570 Aqua from ASRock. Now, why is this important? Well, while not everyone can afford a motherboard that costs as much as an entire system, it's what happens in subsequent generations that will play more to general interest. features introduced or popularized by flagship products tend to show up in mid-range or budget ones shortly thereafter. So if AIBs are willing to go all in now on beefier power delivery, better memory support, and multiple M.2 slots, not to mention little user-friendly things like fixed I/O shields and digital postcode displays, maybe next year's B550 or B650 motherboards will see these benefits trickle down. We've seen it for years on the Intel side, where products like the Asus Maximus Code or RG Extreme Omega may not be affordable for some, or for most, but they will reap the benefits when lower tier products come out. Manufacturers having confidence that AMD will continue to be a force in the CPU space for years to come has allowed them to allocate more R&D dollars and develop some truly awesome motherboards. And this is good news for everyone moving forward. Thanks again to eTeknix for putting this video together. Please feel free to stop by my channel and check out my content as we move into 2020. I hope you all have a great holiday season, and thanks for watching.
What is up, guys? Bob Buskirk here from Think Computers, and we want to thank Andy for including us in their Best Tech of 2019 video. You know, for most people, including myself, the biggest launch of 2019 has to be Ryzen 3000 series. It just was highly anticipated, and then AMD did deliver as well. So for me, my two picks from Ryzen 3000 series, one on the high end, you have the Ryzen 9 3900X. For content creators like myself and Andy, we need great multi-core performance. So you're getting 12 cores, 24 threads here. This is an absolute powerhouse. And then on the more affordable side, we have the Ryzen 5 3600X, and this is 6-core, 12-thread, and it's pretty much a great processor for anybody. It's a great starting point to any build, and right now it's very affordable. It's only $200, which again, you're getting great performance for a great price. And one thing to consider when it comes to both of these processors is they do come with CPU coolers, so you don't have to go out and spend an extra 40, 50 bucks on a CPU cooler. They come with them. So these are my top picks for 2019.
What could I possibly think is the best graphics card of 2019? I've got to say it's a pretty big ask, but if I'm being frank, and I know this is an easy cop-out, it's got to be the RX 5700 XT. You can also lump in the 5700 if you want, but I think what is most notable about this particular launch, not necessarily this card, because nobody wants a blower card unless it's super cheap. Most AIBs are going to be significantly better than this from both thermal and noise perspectives. What's significant, though, is that this is finally something from the red team in a few years that competes with the green team in the middle of the playing field. So we've had RX 480s, 580s, 470s, 570s, 460s, whatever, right? We've had those in the kind of the lower to mid-tier graphics card market, but nothing that really competes with the middle of the pack, and that is traditionally where you get the most bang for your buck. You guys remember how good the GTX 970 was for the price, despite the VRAM discrepancy? Or how about the GTX 1070, one of my favorite cards from the Pascal lineup, and still a great card on the used market for around 200 bucks. This competes almost directly with the RTX 2070, which is again a 70 series card, but with RTX features baked into it, right? RT cores, Tensor cores, and those have raised the price of green team counterparts by a considerable margin, and that is why I can't recommend those in place of this, because most people, let's be honest, are not going to use ray tracing capabilities in the few games that actually support it. So yeah, that's why it's got to be, for me, the RX 5700 XT for around $400 USD.
Happy New Year's to each and every one of you at the eTeknix YouTube channel. My name is Brian from Tech Yes City, and I've been asked by Andrew to talk about my favorite case of 2019, which is one that stands out, and this is worldwide, because I do believe there are a lot of local case manufacturers bringing in some really hard value, especially this year. Though, the 220T, that gets the nod of approval. This is a case that's coming in from Corsair at a really solid price point, considering it's got a nice chassis made of aluminium, it's got a tempered glass side panel, enclosed power supply case shroud, and also has on top of that 3 RGB fans, which give out surprisingly good airflow, because I thought at this budget you'd get some of those fans that are cheap and they don't give out that good airflow, but the fans that they've included stay silent and give out really good airflow, where if you have the side panel on, it still gives lower temperatures than having it off. And that was pretty impressive for me. That's the number one thing I look for when I test out cases. And the 220T really took that T to Terminator level. Peace out for now. Bye.
So I want to say thank you to all of the people who, I guess, made this video possible and who were a part of it. And I've got to admit, I actually do agree with kind of everything that everyone has said. AMD really did steal the show. And they stole the show in kind of a few different ways. Yes, we had Ryzen, but this is a bit of a weird one. 5500 XT. I'm actually going to put that out there, not because it's an absolutely amazing graphics card, because honestly, I think Nvidia have got something slightly better, but the fact that it's kind of the start, it's something that's kind of bringing AMD back into the fold in terms of the GPU market. Obviously, we do have the 5700, and of course, I guess the key important one, which is the 5700 XT. But this is kind of, you know, beyond reach for a lot of people. So 5500 XT to me is probably the most important graphics card that AMD have released this year, because it does pave the way for the 5600 XT, which we have seen rumors for. And maybe even something, I don't know, something a little bit better, maybe a little bit cheaper, maybe AMD do something with the pricing and so forth. There are other things that I wanted to talk through as well. X299, ITX AC. I'm hoping that 2020 is going to bring us a lot more stuff like this, where we're literally looking at a complete pint-sized powerhouse. The amount of kind of components and connectivity options that a board like this has is just astronomical. And it kind of, I guess, paves the way again for us having much, much better components and connectivity, but in a much smaller form factor. Now, for me personally, all this stuff aside, there is two things that really, I think, are the best things of 2019, purely because I bought them. The first one is going to be my new camera. So it doesn't look like a lot, but trust me, it's beefy as hell. This is the Sony RX100 Mark VII. I have got the Mark V as well, which did have a few downsides, mainly in the fact that it didn't have an input for microphones. And this Mark VII now actually includes the input for microphones. So I'm actually going to be taking this to CES with me and going to be filming all the kind of, you know, good event coverage and everything that you guys are going to be wanting to see what's going to be coming out in 2020 and so forth. And for me personally, I haven't really used it too much, but from what I've seen so far, it just kind of works on the success of the Mark V that I've used in the past and just added that audio connectivity. So again, packaging a lot of stuff into a very, very small form factor. Yes, it's not so much on the computer side, but trust me, this is going to assist in making videos on YouTube for eTeknix even better and even bigger in 2020. Now, speaking of making videos even better and even bigger, well, that's where this comes in. And this is probably my best purchase of 2019. And personally, what I think is the best thing out there in 2019. This is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K. So while YouTube doesn't support 6K, I'm going to be filming in 6K, rendering it down to 4K and getting it out to you guys. So expect to see our video quality and everything get a lot better thanks to this bad boy. And again, 6K in something that is, well, pretty damn small. There you go, guys. Let me know if you agree with kind of my comments as well as, you know, all the other guys who featured in this video. And if you agree with, I guess, you know, what they're saying and what they think is going to be what was actually the best components of 2019, whether it be graphics cards, CPUs, motherboards, cases, and so forth. There's so much to choose from, and as I always say in a lot of my videos, there's only going to be one winner throughout all of this, and that's going to be you guys, the consumer. So yeah, let us know in the comments section below, what was your favourite thing that got released in 2019? There's so much to choose from, that's why I had to go for a few different things, but for me mainly, it's my new cameras, because I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to cameras. So looking forward to using them a lot more as we go into 2020. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, you know exactly what to do, and I will see you in the next one. And well, Happy New Year. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.